This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, a new immigration policy as the Trump administration tries another way to deal with the illegal immigration crisis at the border. Neither side is backing down. The war of words between President Donald Trump and those four left-wing freshman Democrats. We're going to look also at the rising tide of anti-Semitism internationally and how some members of the administration are speaking out against it, and how you can live longer and stay healthy while you're doing that. We've got all those stories and so much more ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. We want to begin this hour with a stunning change for those seeking asylum in the United States. The Trump administration wants to require migrants coming to the southern border to first apply elsewhere. CBN's White House correspondent Ben Kennedy is on the story.
Basically, those headed to the U.S. to seek asylum who travel through Central America or even Mexico would first need to seek asylum there. Only if their application is denied there would they then be allowed to seek asylum here in the U.S.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
President Trump made the major announcement as part of his attempt to crack down on migrants coming to the southern border. In his statement, Department of Homeland Security Acting Secretary Kevin McAleenan said, ultimately, today's action will reduce the overwhelming burdens of our domestic system caused by asylum seekers failing to seek urgent protection in the first available country. Economic migrants lacking a legitimate fear of persecution, and the transnational criminal organizations, traffickers and smugglers exploiting our system for profits. The president addressed this concern with CBN News aboard Air Force One back in October of last year.
The critics who say, look, you're just doing all of this for political, to gin up the base and everything. What's the answer to that?
Well, if I am, I've been doing it for a long time because I've been on this issue for a long time, ever since you've known me.
Sure.
And now we have a chance to do something about it. The problem we have is we have no Democrat votes.
We have said that this is a manufactured crisis.
Democrats pushed back on this move to curb immigration. 2020 presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke calls this new policy inhumane. Not true, argued Attorney General William Barr, adding that the U.S. is a generous country but is being completely overwhelmed. Immigration courts are backlogged by more than 800,000 cases. In 2018, there were about 162,000 claims filed, and more than 13,000 were granted.
Education of deportation.
This as migrant communities in the U.S. are on edge after talk of a major deportation of illegal immigrants. ICE is expected to target some 2,000 people in 10 cities this week.
People come into our country illegally, and they go out legally. Every person taken out had papers, and we had court orders.
Now, the rule is expected to go into effect on Tuesday. It does apply to kids who cross the border alone. The new policy does include some exceptions. For example, victims of human trafficking. The ACLU is now vowing legal challenge. Ben Kennedy, CBN News, the White House.
Ben, thank you. Democrats in Congress have been feuding in recent days between the four left-wing freshman women and the House leadership, but they are now united on at least one issue: condemning recent attacks by President Donald Trump against four liberals. The lawmakers on the receiving end say the president is unfit for office, and now they're calling on Congress to relieve him of his duties.
I have not made impeachment central to my election or my tenure. But since the day that I'd gotten elected, I'd said to people, it is not if he will be impeached, but when. So it is time for us to stop allowing this president to make a mockery out of our Constitution. It's time for us to impeach this president.
The House is set to vote today on a resolution condemning the president's remarks. The proposed measure says Trump's words have, quote, legitimized and increased fear and hatred of new Americans and people of color. Our reporter Caitlin Burke is following this story for us now and joins us here. So how is the president reacting to critics calling those tweets racist?
Well, Ephraim, he is largely unfazed. He says that he thinks that a majority of the American public agree with him and said they actually love it. So he's kind of just continuing on and not apologizing.
We'll be watching that one for sure. What are Democrats in the House going to do next? What are we expecting to see?
Right, so we expect that new resolution to go to the House floor today, and a vote could be had as early as today, and it seems that the Democratic Party, the House Democrats, are all united behind that.
We're watching to see what happens. Caitlin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Planned Parenthood and other clinics receiving federal funding can no longer make abortion referrals as part of its family planning services. The Trump administration announced the new abortion-related regulations will now be enforced. Planned Parenthood's Lena Wynn says, "We will not stop fighting for all those across the country in need of essential care." Students for Life's Kristen Hawkins says, ending the connection between abortion and family planning is a victory for common sense health care. An independent report by the British government says Christians are the most persecuted religious group in the world, and persecution is still on the rise. The report's publication was marked in Rome Monday by a meeting organized by the British Embassy to the Holy See in the Basilica of St. Bartholomew. The report found a variety of factors behind anti-Christian oppression, including aggressive nationalism and a rise of Islamist extremism.
The treatment of Christian minorities is a bellwether for how all minorities are treated. So if Christians suffer, that usually goes together with the abuse of human rights more generally. And he also says that Christians tend to speak truth to power, which can make them a particular focus of persecution. But he makes very clear that freedom of religion and belief, the universal human right, is for all, for everyone, as he says, without fear or favor.
The report recommends that Britain push for a UN Security Council resolution urging governments in the Middle East and North Africa to protect Christians and other persecuted minorities. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the liftoff for Apollo 11. The Saturn V rocket lifted off at 8:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time that day, sending the 3 American astronauts on their way to the first landing on the moon 4 days later. NASA and the country are observing the anniversary of the historic journey, and CBN News will bring you a look at the end of this week at how the subject of God frequently came up during the moon missions. Johnny Erickson Tata has announced she is clear of cancer, thanking her supporters for their ongoing prayers. The 69-year-old quadriplegic author, speaker, and founder of Johnny and Friends received the good news from her doctor after a PET scan. She said, given the aggressive nature of that reoccurring cancer, this news is, quote, miraculous. She was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer 8 years ago and underwent a mastectomy and chemotherapy treatment. You can find out about what she says about her battle with cancer at cbnnews.com. Coming up, members of the Trump administration, including Attorney General William Barr, speak out against anti-Semitism. And we'll look at how anti-Semitism is on the rise once again in a particularly noteworthy country, Germany. Stay with us.
I am Regent's first ROTC graduate student.
When you give, smiles grow bigger. When you care, homes are happier. When you comfort, the hurt goes away. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
The Justice Department is working to fight a rise in attacks on Jewish people across America, bringing together members of the Trump administration Monday with members of Congress of the Jewish community for a summit on combating anti-Semitism.
Of course, it is one thing for the nation to pull together in condemning anti-Semitism when confronted with front-page stories about horrific shootings, as in Pittsburgh and Poway. But far too often, Jews and Jewish communities in America suffer outside the spotlight. These attacks and others like them in communities across the country, sadly, are less well known outside the Jewish community. But they form the daily background of concerns about security and safety that many in the Jewish community feel.
Also at the meeting Monday, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos blasted the BDS movement against Israel, calling it a pernicious threat on college campuses and saying it's fueled by bias against Jews. BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions. It's a boycott campaign led by the pro-Palestinian activists against Israel over its treatment of Palestinians. DeVos said these bullies claim they stand for human rights, but we all know that BDS stands for anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a rising threat around the world. The 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion was just over a month ago, but today, in the lifetime of those who survived the Second World War and saw firsthand Nazi death camps, anti-Semitism is once again a threat to Jews in Germany. Dale Hurd brings us the story now from Berlin.
This isn't the Middle East, it's Germany, where Muslims now outnumber Jews 50-1. And where, for the first time since the Nazi regime, Jewish leaders are warning that it's too dangerous to wear the kippah or Jewish cap in some areas.
And me, myself, I wouldn't wear a kippah. Unfortunately, it's not safe. Maybe I hope that it will be safe in future, or maybe it was safe in the past, but right now, in 2019, no, it is not safe at all, unfortunately.
A magazine even printed a paper kippah for all Germans to wear, to show solidarity with Jews. The German government and media say the threat to Jews comes equally from the far right and from Muslim immigrants. And while there is a dangerous neo-Nazi movement in Germany that hates Jews, Chancellor Angela Merkel's welcome of more than 1 million Muslims from countries with anti-Semitic cultures has caused some Jews to join the so-called far right for protection. This is Germany's third largest political party, AfD, or Alternative for Germany, which the left-dominated German media brands as Nazi, although its platform looks a lot like the Republican Party in America. It has shown stronger support for Israel than any other major German party, and now has a chapter called Jews in the AfD. At their first meeting, members sang Ose Shalom.
So why would Jews join a so-called Nazi party? Maybe they don't think it's Nazi. Or maybe they think they face a more serious threat.
The German media treats Jews in the AfD as a publicity stunt. Jewish groups have warned that AfD is no friend of the Jews. The founder of the group, Bernhard Krauskopf, has been denounced as a Jewish Nazi.
Look, when the media tells you that the AfD is a Nazi party, and when the media looks for some Nazis, which we have, like all the parties in Germany, this is nothing special about the AfD. The left consists of Jew haters. Not all of them, but the majority of them. Yes, we have some of those people. We try to get rid of them. It's not so easy because we have free speech.
But AfD leaders have said some disturbing things. Bjorn Höcke called Berlin's Holocaust Memorial a memorial of disgrace and said Germans should stop feeling guilty. Alexander Gauland said that Hitler and the Nazis are just a speck of bird poop in over 1,000 years of successful German history. Krauskopf says he doesn't like those comments, but he says what Angela Merkel has done to make Germany unsafe for Jews is far worse.
To import Jew haters into Germany while knowing it is an anti-Jewish act. That's not just, some memorial. This is reducing our security in Germany by the Chancellor of Germany herself.
There were never a lot of Jews in Germany. Even before the Nazis, Jews were less than 1% of the population. And almost 75 years after the defeat of the Nazis, Jews in Germany still only number about 115,000. And they're feeling increasingly outnumbered and in danger because of Muslim immigration, which Krauskopf says is far worse than the German government will admit.
They are playing it on. They're lying. They have no other word. They are lying about it. So there are lots of excuses, and the situation gets worse every day because the government has lost control. Jew haters have been imported. You know these Jew haters. So now you have no excuses like the normal excuse was after World War II. Yeah, but we didn't know that this would happen. We didn't know. You know it now.
Dale Hurd, CBN News, Berlin.
Still ahead, many people fear aging with old, but we're going to bring you a story of one woman who's proven that no matter how old you are, you can indeed turn back the clock.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
A healthy lifestyle can cut your risk of developing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, even if you have genes that raise your risk for those diseases. That is the finding from a large study from scientists at the University of Exeter, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The study said a healthy diet, enough exercise, limiting how much alcohol you drink, and not smoking made dementia less likely. Healthy living has also been found to help overcome the genetic risk for heart disease. Many people fear getting older, losing independence, memory, and mobility, but it doesn't have to be that way. Lori Johnson introduces us to a woman who's proven it is never too late to turn back the clock.
At age 61, Barbara Hannah Grufferman feels happier and healthier than many people half her age.
We can't control getting older, but we can control how we do it.
You might find it hard to believe that until about a decade ago, Barbara lived like a couch potato.
The last time I had worked out seriously was back when Jane Fonda was doing those tapes, you know, Feel the Burn and all that stuff.
By middle age, she put on weight, felt sluggish, and believed her best years were behind her.
And I was starting to feel, is this what turning 50 is all about? And it was a very upsetting moment for me, and it was a very scary time for me.
In the midst of her depression, she chose to take a little walk.
I put one foot in front of the other. I literally took my first step to my whole new life. I didn't realize it then.
The walks started happening more often, became longer, and she started mixing in a little jogging.
I was starting to lose the weight. I was starting to have more energy. I was just starting to look better and started to feel, for the first time since turning 50, actually positive about my future.
That positive feeling led her to complete 5 marathons, write 3 books, including her latest, Love Your Age, becoming an AARP ambassador, and getting off all medications. Doctors say regular exercise means we can ditch a lot of the pills we take, like antidepressants, blood pressure medication, and sleeping pills. It also reduces the risk of chronic diseases like cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, according to the Cleveland Clinic's Dr. Michael Roizen.
Well, it's never too late until you're 6 feet under. So it's never too late until they're putting dirt on top of you.
In his book, Age Proof, Roizen cites research showing exercise can significantly strengthen our immune system.
Yeah, this is really strange because no one ever expected this.
Scientists now tell us our ability to fight off everything from the common cold to Alzheimer's is largely determined by the bacteria in our gut.
And believe it or not, exercise was one of the great things at changing the bacteria inside you, we don't know why, into being much healthier.
But not just any exercise. Researchers figured out the least amount of exercise we need to do to achieve the maximum health benefits. It involves 4 types of exercise. 10,000 steps a day, which can be measured on a fitness tracker, 20 jumps each morning and night, 30 minutes of resistance training 3 times a week, and 20 minutes of cardio 3 times a week.
Doing 20 minutes 3 times a week of things that make you sweat in a cool room. That's what we call cardio.
As spokeswoman for the American Osteoporosis Foundation, Barbara feels especially passionate about resistance training, which can mean lifting weights or using your body weight, as in push-ups or planks. That, along with calcium and vitamin D, strengthens bones.
This is critical because people, when they fall at an advanced age, can be debilitated for the rest of their lives. And that is something that I think about.
While exercise isn't the only anti-aging tool, it's often the first.
Because I was feeling so much better and motivated to live a healthier life, I decided to, investigate what should I eat.
Barbara switched to a plant-based diet, avoiding sugar and processed foods. So while aging is inevitable, don't give up on life. Walking, cardio, and resistance training can help you avoid many of the pitfalls of getting older. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
And you can get more important health information, including the benefits of tea and a tragic story on the horrible practice of female genital mutilation. You can see these stories and so much more tonight on Healthy Living. It begins at 9:30 Eastern. You can find that show on the CBN News channel. Stay with us. We'll be right back with an encouraging word for your Tuesday.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Come home to the Southern Gospel Station from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites. CBN Southern Gospel. Available now at cbnradio.com.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. Whoa! It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man, come and...
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
And welcome back. It is time now for your Tuesday Tweetable, and we leave you with this message of hope, also hoping you'll post, tag, and tweet and share it with those in your circle. There are many disruptions to your life plans, but with God, those disruptions can help you be pushed to your destiny. With that word, make this a terrific Tuesday and a wonderful rest of the week. That is going to do it for this first edition of CBN News Watch. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can always get more on the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. You can also watch CBN News programs anytime on the CBN News channel. We'd love to hear from you, know what you think about the stories that you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Certainly hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.